All right, welcome. This is an exciting time to be here because I have my friend and fellow hypnotist. We got Jason Smith on the line here. Hello, Jason.
Hi Ryan, how are you?
I am great. I'm so excited. So, just briefly, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and what you're, I don't know, just tell us a little bit, a snippet of who is Jason Smith.
Sure. I am a father. I have three sons. I'm also married to my wife of 16 years. One of my sons has autism, and that's been something that we have been navigating over the last few years. It's very difficult, but I can tell you this much. Hypnosis has been a godsend. It's been helping us to be able to help him to access those different parts of ways he thinks. Um, because as a neurotypical person, I don't think the same way that he does. And so I've learned to access his mind the way that's unique to him. And hypnosis has helped me with that. But, outside of all that stuff, I am a Christian. I believe in God. He saved me. And I know this for a fact because in 2000, I wanted to commit suicide. I wasn't even a Christian at that time, but I was like, I didn't know what to do with my life. And I just felt like I was at my very worst. So I was about to take a knife because I sold Cutco cutlery at that time. And I was about to take this knife across my wrist. And just as I did, my pet guinea pig was in the cage and I heard weet, weet. As soon as I
Oh,
heard
man.
that
Yeah.
noise, I dropped the knife and I just was sobbing because I was like, no one can take care of that animal better than me. And I
That's right.
didn't realize it at that time, but the guinea pig saved my life. Then shortly after that, when I was in the hospital where they diagnosed me with depression at that time, my sister, who's younger than me, just finished basic training, and she called me over Easter weekend. I heard her voice on the phone. I said, something's different about you. And whatever it is that you got, I
Mm,
want it. So I joined the army, which was a task in itself because my recruiter's like, when you go into MEPS, you got to say, no, never, not at all. You got to go off your meds. You can't be depressed or you're not going to get in.
right.
And so I did everything they told me to do. I got into the military. I started going to the Sunday services just so
Mhm.
I wouldn't have to do barracks maintenance
Right.
because they're all,
I've been there before. I was in the Marines and I remember Sundays. Okay, I grew up Methodist, grew up on the Protestant side of things, but the only service available was Catholic. So I'm like, fine.
right. So I started going, and about the seventh week, they hosted a church outside of Fort Leonard, Missouri, hosted a free day away. And at this free day away, we were allowed to eat all the contraband we wanted. We could go to the bowling alley, we could go
Yeah,
anywhere we wanted. But the
yeah.
only restriction they had was we had to come to dinner and attend the church service, which I did. And it was in that service that I accepted Jesus for the very first time in my life.
Wow,
It was November 24th, 2002.
wow.
And my life had changed after that. It's as soon as I did that, I looked back on it all and I go, it wasn't the guinea pig that saved my life. It was God who spoke to the animal and had the animal speak to me to stop me
Right,
in that moment.
right.
So, I mean, you asked me for a little bit about myself. I practically
No,
told you
this
the
is
whole
great.
15 years.
This is great. And the reason, and I didn't mean to like some people may have seen me or heard me chuckle a little bit when you're talking about the Cutco knife. And I know it's a very serious topic, but the reason I laugh is because I relate to it. It was, I would say 2010. I was standing on a cliff I was a former pastor, so I'll put this out there.
Wow.
I was a former pastor. I walked away from the church and just downward spiral. And I was on a cliff with a knife in my hand. I couldn't afford Cutco, but it was a knife in my hand. And I made the prayer. I was like, God, I don't have the guts. I want you to kill me. Just
Oh,
take my life, right? A week later, he did. It was a sudden cardiac arrest where, so with the heart, there's plumbing issues that lead to heart attacks, clogged up arteries, all that. And there's electrical issues. This
yeah.
was an electrical issue. The doctors called it idiopathic, meaning they had no idea. We did PET scans, we did CAT scans, MRIs, all these tests, blood work, etc., and they had no idea why. They just instant light out. I collapsed over on top of my 4-year-old son. My mom was across from there, and instantly she's like, Jesus, don't let him die. Jesus, don't let him die. Right.
Yeah.
I already died. However, and this is interesting because it brings in the faith element, and people can call it God, people can call it divine providence, whatever you want to call it. I come from the Christian perspective, so I see it as divine intervention. But there just happened, I put a quotation mark, to be an off-duty firefighter there, came over, started CPR. There just happened to be a class on AED that had the device ready to come and shock me back. And while my mom was screaming, "Don't let him die, Jesus, don't let him die," this man came over and embraced her and said, when they shocked me back, he's like, "He answered your prayer." And the guy disappeared. No one saw him, no one recognized him. And that's proof that there's just something out there taking care of us.
Yeah.
And a large part of what's driving me and doing this work now is what I experienced in that moment of death. Is that what the Bible talks about, that perfect peace beyond understanding, beyond what we can describe in words, and feeling and knowing I'm connected to everyone.
Yeah.
I felt everyone's presence. I was nowhere and everywhere all at once, both in time, space. And then so when they revived me, well, first I was like, I want to go back to that place. Why am I here on this earth? This place isn't nearly as good as that place. But I came back with, what's my purpose?
Yeah.
And like what you're saying is, what do you have that you want to share with someone else without them having to go through to that experience of holding that Cutco knife,
Yeah.
without them having that depression? How can we give them that peace that we've discovered? And that leads us to this moment here. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was such a long time ago, and I'm glad I didn't make that decision. I was 20 years old. If I'd have done that, obviously my kids wouldn't be here today.
Right.
My oldest son, Josiah, he is 14 years old, and he feels the call to be a pastor. And so if I had done what I had set out to do,
Right.
his voice wouldn't be rising up to carry the light going forward.
Carry the light. Right.
Yeah.
And we speak of this in the Christian's perspective. And then people listening or watching, they know that we're hypnotists.
Yes.
And instantly there's that friction there.
Yeah.
And then part of my thought is I look at the book of Genesis, and the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God, was God. And then I look at Jesus, and he just says a word, and people are healed. People come to touch him, and they're healed. And I see how with hypnosis we use the word. And through the word, people believe.
Yes.
How do you see a Christian being able to use hypnosis without walking away from what the Bible says, what they believe in the heart, and ultimately what Jesus is telling them?
I think the important distinction is that hypnosis isn't sorcery. It isn't magic. It's a tool, and it's been scientifically proven as such, accepted by the medical community in the 1950s. Sure, it had some really weird origins going all the way back to Egypt, but it's been refined over the years. And if we treat it as a tool, just like a coach is a tool, then we can practice it without falling into sorcery, witchcraft, divination. And I think too often, especially in evangelical circles, or at least where I live, I think the perception is that only people who practice magic and witchcraft use hypnosis, and that's not the case. Sure, it is a tool; they could use it,
Right.
but that's like somebody being trained in the medical profession and then going out and working without a license, right? You can't.
Right.
They've got the knowledge, they got the experience, but there's a difference between somebody who knows and has the certification and somebody who doesn't. So I think we got to get away from just brandishing it as evil, but it's a big hurdle to overcome. And the reason why I say that is we look at what Mike Mandel teaches us and all the origins and the history and how it's in popular culture. You've got movies and books that take hypnosis and weaponize it for the villain of the stories.
Right.
And so that's all people ever see it as.
Right.
Yet we know otherwise, that we can't manipulate people to give us information that's going to be to their detriment. It doesn't work that way because of the critical faculty that's going to protect them and keep them safe.
Mm.
I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes.
On it all around it.
It launches two questions as a follow-up. At the end, you mentioned critical faculty, and people may not know what that is. I wonder if maybe we should start with what is hypnosis? Like demystify it. Like,
sure. What is?
Yeah. So in your opinion, or in what you've learned and studied, and especially in the Christian mindset. So if a Christian's saying, oh, I need help, for instance, I need help, because even Paul talks about this, like, I want to do good, but it seems like there's something preventing me from doing good. So if they need that help to quit smoking, to stop a habit, to lower their pain, whatever it is, they need that help. And yet there's a resistance. Is hypnosis bad? So what is hypnosis, and how could it help a Christian in that mindset without going against their values?
Whew, that's a good question. And I know I've said this, I've shared this in some of my workshops, is that if you ask 100 hypnotists what hypnosis is, you're going to get 100 different answers.
Right.
I think hypnosis is just about every conversation that you can have. It's conversations that we had with our parents, people who were in authority over us when we were younger. Their words shaped our beliefs and our thoughts, and we held fast to what they told us. Our teachers, so the education system could hypnotize us. We know that the news media could use different angles to manipulate our feelings and convince us of certain things. Reading books, listening to music, going to church, everything has a hypnotic element to it. We talk about hypnotists using inductions. Well, let's look at the anatomy of a church service, for example.
Yes, let's look at it. Yeah.
You go in, and as soon as you get in, the very first thing they do is they dim the lights and they play music. And the music is supposed to transition you out of this state that you were in when you were out of the doors into a state where you can hear from God or feel his presence.
Right.
And so you get all that hype praise music before, and it gets all that adrenaline, everything pumping through your system. You're starting to feel ecstatic, which is another word for hypnosis. So you get that ecstatic state. And then you go into the worship, which slows everything way down.
Exactly.
Which primes you for the message to be able to, with that word implanted. And so it's everything. And we have to be aware that it's in everything. And if it is in everything, then you can't really ban it or legislate against it, because hypnosis is happening all the time.
All the time. And it's interesting from the science perspective. So you mentioned they come in whatever state they're in, and the music goes. And from the science perspective, that brings the brain elevated into that gamma state, and that excited, that aroused, that pumped up state. And then when you're talking about lowering the lights and soothing and the little talk, it goes down into the beta state, and then the alpha, and then the highly, like when the preacher's up there at the altar call saying, everyone's head is bowed, just like in hypnosis, or eyes closed, head bowed. You're going into that state. If you have heard the message today and it speaks to you now, I want for you to come forward to the altar. And it's a suggestion. Yeah. But it's a highly powerful suggestion, because they went through the process, just like you said, of hypnosis. And you can label it whatever you want. Emotion, you can label it with those different, like the science elements. How does this work with the brain and the chemistry in the brain? And I love what you're saying, how we see it weaponized. So how does a person know when they come to you or they come to me, how do they know that they can trust that they will be safe? And that we're not going to weaponize them. We're not going to give them some like you mentioned, like our parents or whoever society gives us these negative labels. So how do they know that when they come to us, we're not going to give them anything negative? We're only going to give them something positive.
I think the important thing is to find out in advance, what would you like to have happen?
Mm.
Prime them from the very beginning. What is it you want to do? Um, get to know them, listen to them as if they're the most interesting person in the room.
Yeah.
And as you do that, you're building rapport, and that rapport is the glue that holds trance together. And once you have established that this is a safe space and that I'm not going to do anything to manipulate you, then I think you're able to move into that space where change work can actually take place.
Right. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And now you mentioned the critical faculty. So speak more to that. What's the critical faculty, and what are some of the other things that people might have questions about with hypnosis and the mind and whatever else is going on?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I want to apologize to listeners for saying critical faculty, because
It's all good.
I do realize that that is, the technical jargon that we talk about.
Yeah.
Um, but if you've ever, when you were younger and you used to go clubbing, let's use that for example. If you've ever done that, then you know that there's a bouncer outside the front of the bar or the club, and they're checking people off the list, like, yeah, you're on the list, go ahead in, and some people get bounced at the door, like, nope, you can't come in. The critical faculty is like that bouncer at the club. He's only going to let in what's okay to be in. And that's exactly what's happening. This I don't know. Okay, I've studied this. I don't know it all like probably you or Mike Mandel knows it, but I know that it's part of our neural network, and it's there to keep us safe. It's constantly filtering and looking and asking questions like, is this safe? Is it going to harm me? What? And it's just trying to keep you safe. So as long as we can build the rapport and the trust with the critical faculty, then it's going to let us to go in and do the work that we need to do.
Going in. And I'm wondering where are we going into? So for example, like when we're driving, this is great because everyone has experienced this, where you're driving and you get to where you're going and you don't remember everything you had. So I'm imagining in what you're saying, the critical faculty is thinking about something. They might be replaying something like a fight they had with their partner, or bills they have to pay, or whatever. But that in wherever they're going in is that part that's taking care of them. It's that part that regulates their heartbeat. It's that part that controls their nervous system. It's that part that knows how much gas to press and when to hit the brakes and where to turn. So where are they going? And is this place they're going have their best interest for them?
Yeah, I like that question. It's a challenging question. So let me think about this for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of people, so for instance, in that place that I experienced in my death, what I experienced was peace. I've talked to other people that have had these experiences, and some of them, it was not peaceful. So when they go in, sometimes it's a scary place. So people may be reluctant to go in. So I'm wondering if maybe using us as a guide, that we can help them and then we go with them inward so that they're not alone when they're going in. I think that's one of the scary things that they see, is that they're going into this place that's an unknown territory, and it's a little scary and alone feeling.
Yes.
So I wonder if having a guide at this place going inward to where whatever they have, it's a unlimited resources that they're going to. So maybe that helps in what it is that they're going to.
That reminds me, the other day I was in the practice rooms and I met up with another hypnotist, and he's like, hey, we got some time before they have scheduled practice. Do you want to practice? I said, absolutely. He said, do you want to be a practitioner or the subject? I deferred to him because he's been in the program longer. So I said, I'll be the subject. And he did some conversational work. There was no formal induction or anything, but he noticed my eye accessing cues, and my eyes went this way. And he asked a question. He said, well, I wonder if you could put your eyes back over there, and what's over there? As soon as he did, and I looked over there, I said, I don't know what it is, but I got this feeling of sadness.
Interesting.
And I wasn't even expecting that, because that's not what we started the session to talk about.
Really?
And so, like you said, you'll go into these places that are dark and uncomfortable. And I think some people at that point would have said, I'm not doing this.
Right.
And they would have come right out of it. But I was curious enough to keep going and pressing in deeper. It's nothing that the hypnotist did with me being the subject.
Right.
It's what I allowed to happen. And so, yes, he's a guide. He's someone to go with me. His voice goes with me into this place, but I'm the one that's doing the work. By the time the session was over, I had lost all track of time. It felt like we were in there for maybe 5 minutes, but a whole half hour had passed.
Right.
And as soon as I got off the call with him, I was like, oh my gosh, Jeannie, that's my wife. I said, that was so powerful. And at the same time, I was extremely exhausted. I have never felt that exhausted except for maybe finishing a race. And I was like, man, that was some good work. And I'm like, wow.
Right.
So going in is like going to the place that you need to go.
Right.
To confront the things you need to confront in order to pull out the resources that you need to be successful in whatever it is that you want to do.
I love it. And I wonder, when you looked over and you felt that sadness, did you feel comfort and trust because you had someone with you? Like, would you, the average person, maybe first, they may have not noticed it. So you might need someone to notice it for you. So you use that person that you worked with to notice it. And then if the average person happens to notice on their own that sadness, they might not know to lean into that. They might not know how to deal with that. So how do we as hypnotists help that person feel safe to go explore and be curious?
That's where I would use clean language questions. And that's another jargon term.
Clean language, right.
Which basically means we're asking questions without leading the witness. So as you were demonstrating there in response to what I said, you said, and when you noticed that sadness. And so that is an example of using the clean language, because you're offering back my own words to me, and that helps to build that rapport, and it also helps me feel confident and safe in whatever work we're doing. So I think that as we listen to what the client wants and we guide them towards finding the answers that they want, then that's what they're going to end up getting, and they're going to feel safe in that environment. But if we start asking questions or doing direct suggestions that don't line up with what they want to get out of it, I think that's where you get some resistance.
Right. And I love the fact that you're talking about clean language, because, and for whoever's listening, so Jason said the word sad. He felt sad. I didn't say he felt depressed, because sad for one person could mean something totally different for another person. Mm-hmm. And so whatever that meaning, I, as a hypnotist, don't know what that sadness is for Jason. Only Jason knows what that sadness is. So we work at that word. And then for clean language, it's like, and what else about that sadness? Or there's other ways, or what about sadness is sad, or something like that, just digging into that and getting more words and maybe some metaphors or something.
Yes. Yes. And I think at one point he asked me, and where is that sadness in your body?
Yes.
And then for me, it was right here in my chest.
Right.
And I told him that. I said, I can feel it right here, but I also feel it in my eyes because they're starting to water. I offered that as a verbal cue to the hypnotist because sometimes when we do these things online,
Right.
it's hard to notice everything you need to notice on a camera. So I gave that back to him so that he would know what was going on internally with me. And oh my gosh,
Right.
it was so powerful.
And I'm wondering too, and back to the Christian perspective, let's say you're a pastor and you can say you're a hypnotist, or you could just say you're a pastor. You don't even need to say you're a hypnotist. And you can use hypnotic language, or as you just said, clean language.
Yes.
And you don't necessarily need to put your practitioner or your parish into close your eyes now. You just talk to them.
Yeah.
And guide them. And how do you feel? So this is what, I guess this is my big idea, right? So Jesus said, these works and greater will you do. And in another part, I think it's in the book of John, he said, you are God's. Because we are the children of God, according to the Bible. And so that makes us God-like because we're his children. We have his DNA in us.
Yes.
And that's what always bothered me. That's one of the things I walked away from the church was because we aren't doing greater works. And here's one of my theories about what I'm doing in hypnosis. This is one of my grand plans. So in my day job right now, eventually I see Transwell getting us into not having a day job. But the day job is I work at the VA. I'm a veteran, you're a veteran, and I work with veterans that are blind. And we teach them how to use cane skills and cook safely. And there's a certain type of blindness called functional blindness. And that's where the eyes work. The optic nerve works. The eyes are perfectly healthy. Yet the brain says they're blind. It could either be through trauma or brain injury. So if they're in war and they got a brain injury, that can cause it. Or let's say they're younger and they experience some kind of trauma in their life, whether abuse or whatever kind of trauma, and the brain just shuts off the sight. They're like, you've seen enough danger where you can no longer see again. That's functional blindness.
Yeah.
And I've seen people with that go through cognitive behavior therapy, and over a year or more of dedicated work going every week, eventually they get a little more eyesight back. You can see where I'm going with this. Yeah. Hypnosis. Now there was a great meta-analysis on PubMed where they did a study of people with anxiety, and they had a control group, they had a group that had, and they looked at a bunch of different studies, groups that just had cognitive behavior therapy, and then group with hypnosis. The group with hypnosis was 70% more effective at reducing anxiety in a quicker amount of time. So my plan eventually is to do the study, a control group of functional blindness, another group that sees cognitive behavior therapy, and we know that works over a period of a year or more, and a group with hypnosis because it's instant access to the mind. And so, with that saying, Jesus caused the blind to see again. And through hypnosis, we could call it the Word of God. We could call it faith. We could call it whatever. But it's a way of accessing those potentialities.
Yes.
That causes healing. And I believe you've mentioned the story. I love this example. You ran a workshop. What was it called? The Master Your Mind workshop?
Yes, I did a Master Your Mind workshop. It's all about self-hypnosis. And just to clarify that right away, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So, and
let's pause for a second there. So tell me more. So let's say someone comes to work with you, Jason, and they're like, okay, I'm seeing the hypnotist. They're going to hypnotize me. So what do you mean all hypnosis is self-hypnosis? Why should they come see you?
it's a cooperative
Mm.
situation. Sometimes people who let me retract that because I'm gonna yeah, okay.
That's fine.
My brain was going faster than my answer was coming, and just slow it.
And that goes back to what we're saying about the critical faculty and the
Yeah,
unconscious. So your brain is doing all this processing. The critical faculty can only do 7 plus or minus 2 bits at a time, versus that
right.
unconscious part does 2 million bits at a time.
That's right.
So, all right. So let's
So
start with what you got.
all hypnosis is self hypnosis. Why do they need a hypnotist if all hypnosis is self hypnosis? I think most people don't know how to access a hypnotic state.
Mm-hmm.
And so they need somebody to come alongside them and coach them into it. You can learn it. And once you learn that skill, then you can become your own hypnotist.
Mm-hmm.
You may not need to use a hypnotist again, but let's just say I'm a hypnotist, you're a hypnotist, and we go to practice rooms and we work with other hypnotists. We never fully arrive. We're always going to need somebody else to help us and to guide us along through the process. Because we got our own junk that we're dealing with. And sometimes we get a mental block that we don't see readily, and we need somebody else to help us to unclog that. So just if you would get a plumber to come and unclog your drain,
Yep.
you need a hypnotist.
Yep.
I hope that was a really good answer. Thank you, unconscious mind. All right. But so that's the whole thing. All hypnosis, self-hypnosis. You can't go into trance unless you're willing to go there. And the hypnotist can guide you into that. If you trust them and if you're willing to play along. And I say play along,
Right.
in quotes, because you'll get some people that say, "Oh, hypnosis is fake. It's all everybody is just putting on a show." I like the way Mike says, pretend until you're not pretending anymore.
Right. And what I'm thinking of too is you're mentioning that I've, I don't right away remember exactly the way you phrased it, but something about you can't go in hypnosis without wanting to go. And then yet people are hypnotized every day. And I'm thinking of you go to a movie and we talk, or even back in the days of Greek plays, they talked about that suspension of disbelief. So you can go into a movie and you may not say, I'm going to come to the movie and be hypnotized, but you can go to the movie and say, okay, I'm going to let whatever incident in my day just go away because I paid a price to come to this movie. I'm here to enjoy it. So then you get lost into the movie. You let it hypnotize. The lights lower. The sound is a surround sound. It's booming. You can feel the vibration of the speakers. And then all of a sudden you're there, whether it's Marvel and you're flying with Captain America or whatever, but you're there. And then for just a brief moment of a time, this is your life. You're in the universe.
Yeah. And something that came up when you mentioned that, because it's almost like a pushback. I love this about hypnosis. It makes you confront the things that you say. So me saying that you have to be willing to go into hypnosis, and then you bringing up the concept that you can go to a movie, and then we've also talked earlier about how news media and other things can all influence us. I think we're just in a naturally receptive state to want to go somewhere other than our present life. Um, I mean, we hear a lot of people these days talking about the importance of being present, and yet we're constantly going to social media, television, video games, anything we can to disconnect from the present moment. It's almost like we want to be hypnotized to forget everything that's going on around us.
Right.
Um, and so it's interesting that that came up for me in what you had just said, because then it makes you say, well, maybe everybody doesn't necessarily have to want it because they already do on some lower level.
And then with the hypnosis, coming to see a hypnotist or engaging with maybe even like listening to one of our free audios, just engaging with the process, they have a choice. They can choose the programming. They can either choose to go into something that programs them with self-doubt or self-hatred, or they can choose something positive and give them a brighter outcome.
Yeah.
And so going back to your class you had, the Master Your Mind workshop.
Yes.
So
it's all about a choice. And so I taught them all the skills they needed to learn in order to do hypnosis on themselves. From simple techniques such as the 6-step EFT tapping that we've learned. I've also taught them how to use the triple warmer technique, which is finding a channel between your pinky and ring finger and tapping there and saying affirmations. I know a lot of people get bent out of shape about affirmations, saying that they don't work. But for whatever reason, I found that when you tap here and you say as if you believe that it happens, that it starts to bring forth that state of being. It's like you almost step into being the type of person who embodies the affirmations that you're claiming. It's not sitting there in meditation and om and saying I am. It's not that.
Right.
This, for whatever reason, I don't know how it works, but for whatever reason, this works. And I did it before we got on the call here today. I'm like, all of my resources are online. I am an excellent hypnotist. All my thoughts and experiences are right here, available for whatever we're going to talk about, because I didn't know what we were going to talk about. And that's the most exciting thing, is not being prepared and having something just come up organically. And I really appreciate that about this conversation, because you're learning about me, I'm learning about you, but I think we're both learning in the process to refine how we think about this thing called hypnosis and how we can use it to help people.
And people listening are already learning too. They're learning about the tapping and they're learning about channeling. And I think that's powerful. And it reminds me too of when I was a pastor. I remember planning a message, writing out, looking up all the verses and having exactly what I wanted to say. And every time, those were the worst messages I gave. When I just went up there and I just had a verse that spoke to me earlier that week, and I just want to talk about this verse. Those were the most powerful messages. Those are the ones that just moved. And it reminds me of the story of Moses, where God said, and Moses had a stutter, and God said, "You're going to be my voice. You're going to be my messenger." And he's like, "I stutter. What am I going to say?" And God says, "Don't even think about what you're going to say. Just go in there, open your mouth, and let me talk through you."
Yes.
And that is powerful.
Yes.
So with the master of your mind, so you taught these people these techniques. And I believe you had a story about someone that followed up with you. And can we share a little bit about that story? Obviously, without naming the person, but just talk about the situation.
Absolutely. So she was in the workshop, and afterwards I got a message through Facebook Messenger. She said, "Hey, I've got this issue with AGS, and I was wondering if you could help me with it." I said, "AGS? I have no idea what that is. Tell me more." And she said, "It's alpha gal syndrome." And I went to go look it up, and I found out that it is caused by a tick bite. There's something in the tick that causes an allergy to the proteins in red meats. Well, it had gotten so bad for her, because it was, to me, I think it was a mental issue. It started out with just the red meats, but it eventually ended up where she couldn't eat anything that she wanted to eat. She had a very limited, restricted diet, and so she wanted to work on that, because her son cooks, and she wanted to be able to enjoy meals that he prepared, and she wanted to do so without having any kind of reaction. I said, "Awesome." So we scheduled, I think, about an hour appointment, sat down over Zoom, and I got to find out, what is it that you want? What would you like to have happen at the end of this? She gave me a little bit of history about when it first happened. And then I walked her through I got her to do an induction, and I did some guided meditation kind of type stuff. It's really weird because a lot of what I did in that session was not what I had planned on doing. I was planning on, it's an allergy, so we're going to do like the allergy protocol, but I ended up having her visualize seeing her younger self. And the reason why I went this way is because she told me a story about how when her son was younger, he had severe food allergies, and she just made this religious contract with God and said, if you will take that off of him, I will take it upon myself. And he was healed. And because he was healed, now she has this belief that it's because I made this contract with God. So now I have to have what he had or worse. I don't really know what all happened in her head, but this is the story that I'm pulling out or extracting from the whole experience. So I had her go and talk to her younger self and tell her it's okay and that she didn't have to make that agreement. And she ended up integrating, and she's really great. At the end of it, she was awesome. And I did this pro bono because I'm just starting out at the time, and I just wanted to get more people that I could practice with, get some testimonials and all that kind of stuff. And she ended up saying, "Hey, how much do I owe you?" I said, "Oh no, this is on the house." And she's like, "I got to pay you something." I was like, "Okay." So I gave her a number. She paid it instantly. And then about 2 months later, she sent me another message and said, "Hey, Jason, just want to let you know my son cooked lamb chops for me, and I was able to eat it, and I had no reaction." I was like, "That's awesome." She also told me about going to Texas Roadhouse where she was able to eat some chicken and it tasted like steak to her. And she was just really excited that I was able to eat the things that she wanted to eat that for the longest time she wasn't able to eat.
Right. That's incredible. And it just shows what's possible, that the mind sets these limits, that somewhere along the line, we give them ourselves, whether they're from our parents telling us that we're, boxing us in. And that's another part of the reason too, when I walked away from the church, because I felt like as a church, we're boxing in what Jesus is really saying. He's saying these works and greater. And yet we have a prescription, and we say, no, we can't heal blind anymore. No, we can't make people walk anymore. And I was like, but it says here, these works, not, oh, we'll make people feel better. Not, oh, we'll make people feel happy. Not, oh, we'll just forgive sin and move on. No, these works and greater works.
Yes.
And we see it possible. We look at one of the greatest hypnotists of all time, Milton Erickson.
Yeah.
And he was paralyzed from polio. And flat out, no one that I know of that ever was paralyzed from polio got up and walked again. But Erickson, he remembered what it was like to walk. And so he would lie there and his hands wouldn't be able to move. His whole body was paralyzed. People go in this iron lung to help them breathe because their chest can't expand anymore. But he just sat there with his hands still. And he's like, okay, started one bit at a time. I remember what it's like to move my finger. And through the mind, practicing remembering what it's like to move a finger, the finger began to twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And then another finger. And then another finger. And that dude got up and walked again.
That's awesome.
And it's from the inside out.
Yes.
And that is what hypnosis is about, is helping people realize their potential from the inside of them outward. And I fully believe that these works and greater will we see when we engage with this process. And I love how you're talking about how people don't need to be scared of it, because it goes hand in hand with Christianity or whatever religion they are.
Yeah.
Because it's not a religion, it's not witchcraft, it's not voodoo, it's science, and it's just words.
Yeah. And God said, or Jesus said, that the kingdom of God is within you.
That's
so,
right.
So the power of God already exists inside of us. And
Right.
We talk about that in church places, and I think people think it's a metaphor.
Right.
But it really is, to your story about feeling at peace and at oneness with everyone.
That's right.
At the same time, that exists in us. I mean, if you strip everything away, everything that's physical about us,
right,
what is left but the space in between? And that space in between
that's right.
is the spirit.
Yes.
And the spirit is in us, through us, in everything.
Yes. Amen to that. It reminds me of Ram Dass. So this is a guy that was a psychology professor up at Harvard. And then he discovered LSD and got kicked out. He's like, okay, you're too hippy dippy, no drugs. We got to be clean. You got to teach psychology like we taught you from the book. So he went over to India and met this guru and brought over a vial of LSD. Not just a little tab of paper, but an entire vial, the liquid stuff. And his guru grabbed it, and he wrote all about all this in Ram Dass's book, Be Here Now. That's the name of the book, Be Here Now. And so the guru grabbed the vial of LSD and just started drinking, glug, glug, looked around, noticed no change. Took another glug, 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 no change. He was so in tune with what you're saying, that space between that spirit. The reality is both spiritual and physical. He's walking in sync with those worlds. And what stands out in what you're saying is in that book is both a narrative, but then also several pieces of art that Ram Dass drew. And one of them, you open up the book, it's like a centerfold, is of this church service. And you have all these people in pews, kind of like sleeping, hunched over, kind of just bored looking. And then you got him dancing down the middle of the aisle. He's like, if you knew the words that you hear in this service were actually true, you'd be dancing like me too. This isn't boring. This is exciting. This is the things that they talk about in the Bible are real and possible.
Yes.
And we, like you said, going back to the beginning, we can use hypnosis as a tool to help bring out the reality of what's spoken of in the Bible.
All right. That's awesome.
All right. So, in a moment, if you wouldn't mind leading everyone that's listening into a little guided meditation, or a little sample. I like to refer to it as, and you go to the food court and you get a little taste of the Chinese chicken. Here's a sample on a toothpick and you take it. Oh, that's delicious. Okay, now I want the full meal. So in a moment, if you wouldn't mind leading whoever's listening to get that little sample on a toothpick.
All right.
Is there anything before we go there that you wanted to mention about yourself or about hypnosis or about anything?
Not at this time. I think we've covered a lot.
We've covered a lot.
It's fantastic. Just having the opportunity to speak with you today. I've had a lot of fun, and I hope that your listeners too.
Yes,
have also had fun.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to mute my microphone and let you do your thing. I'm going to go along with the journey with the listeners now. So just as a word of warning to whoever's listening or watching, of course, if you're driving or if you're not in a place where you can close your eyes and just engage with the process, go ahead and hit pause and go to a place where you can just sit and relax, or just listen in the back of your mind and let it subtly influence you in a positive direction. All right, Jason, you're up.
Allow your feet to rest firmly on the floor and place your hands, palm down, on your lap. Take a deep breath in. Hold it and let it go. And I wonder if you can imagine a pendulum inside your mind. It could be one of those long pendulums at a museum that keeps track of the time throughout the day. Or maybe it's a pocket watch. Or maybe there's something on a small gold chain. I don't know what's right for you. But imagine that swinging. And I don't know whether it's swinging forward and backward or left to right, but whichever is right for you, begin to notice how that feels in your body. Notice that swaying movement and take a deep breath. Eyes closed now. Begin to notice how that is moving with every breath. You breathe in one direction, out the other direction, slowing way down. That's right. Begin to notice the sounds around you in the room. Could be the heater or air coming out of a vent, or there might be a clock ticking or bobbleheads bobbing or anything else. The sound of feet pattering across the floor, children speaking, playing video games, or a dog scratching at the door. And with each one of those sounds, you can go twice as deep now. Notice how good you feel. Unclench your jaw. Allow your shoulders to relax. And you're already becoming aware of your blood pressure lowering and your heart rate steadying. And in this space, bring to mind what it feels like to be at your very best. Focus on that feeling and where it might be in your body, what it does to your posture. That's right. And think about the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. And with every breath, let go of anything you don't need. Breathe in peace. Breathe in comfort. Breathe in love and warmth, restoration, that feeling of belongingness, gratitude for your family. And let that feeling grow bigger. And as it grows bigger, feel the warmth radiate out from you like a warm aura surrounding you. And once you've embodied that feeling, you can bring it back with you, all the way back to now, feeling fantastic. And when I count to 5, you will wake up feeling refreshed and ready for anything. 1 can come back to the surface 3 times better than before, wide awake and alive on 5. Hi.
Oh man, that's so good, man. I love that. Thank you for giving that to everyone listening and watching, but thank you for giving that to me. I needed that. You're talking about those noises at the beginning, and I just started tuning out. But literally, you're talking about like kids and dogs, and I'm in the basement of my home, and there's kids, like talking to their mom, and I can hear everything. And the little dog is click clacking across the floor, and that just brought me deeper and deeper. And then I got out of that. So thank you so much.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
my pleasure.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here today. And I'm excited to hear how the people listening have engaged with this and benefited from it. And I can't wait to see all the people that will change and be better because of just listening and being here today. So thank you so much, Jason.
Thanks so much, Ryan.